Yeah, no, yeah, I don't think it's gonna come in and die. Okay, good afternoon, everybody. Welcome once again to the Enhanced Sports Talk Show. My name is Linton Nor, and it's a very warm day for March here in the New York, New Jersey area. But we'll get through it. It's only gonna be for one day anyway, though. Remember the number is 512-543-4662. Once again, 512-543-4662. And we'll be here until 6 o'clock when Rizal McGee takes over his fine show. Uh, Monday nights, Kevin Dixon, either 6 to 8 or 7 to 9, as the case may be. And Patrick Hodge whenever he returns. Don't forget, you can also check us out on YouTube. Go to YouTube and type in theenhancedsportsshow.com and you'll hear the show in its entirety. And don't forget to like and share this Facebook page as well. All right. Oh, before I forget anything, I'd like to thank everyone for the birthday wishes of this past week as I celebrated a birthday on Wednesday. And I want to wish uh, one of our regular callers the good luck at the special Olympics week. Michael Paris, that is, who was a regular on this show. He is competing right now as we speak, or maybe just finishing the event. So he'll join us then next week. I hope that he can give us an update. I was hoping he can do that, but obviously there's not enough time. So we'll do that. I don't know where Steve is, so I'll just have to do it with Diane for now. Um, I might have to cut this short, depending if anybody else calls in after 5:15. So I'll just wait and see about that. We'll just see how the rest of this day goes. All right, so we're gonna check out the Elite Eight now as we're into the finals. As of the final eight as of tonight, imagine that going from 32 just a week ago now to eight. Boy, it goes fast. All right, so we're gonna start off with tonight's matchups. Florida versus Texas Tech. I have Florida winning by a considerable margin. Diane, how about you? All right. Duke and Alabama. Now, Alabama, of course, as we know, is more of a football school than a basketball school by any means, but they have shown this year that they are one of the more competitors, top competitors this year, especially in the SEC. But Duke has poured on, and of course, the star player Cooper Flag, who has really stepped the game and proved why he is the top player in college basketball, has really stepped up despite being injured in the ACC tournament out in a wheelchair in Game 1. Has fought back easily, and now is one step away from going to the Final Four. So I'm gonna go with Duke here, Di. Who do you got? That takes care of that. And that game will be just before 9 o'clock, or 30 minutes after the conclusion of Game 1. All right, for tomorrow's games, the other half of the Elite Eight. Okay, this one looks like both of these are good matchups right here. I'll tell you that right now. Number one, Houston versus Tennessee. I really didn't think Houston was gonna, or Auburn was gonna even make it this far, because they're not really solid basketball schools, but they approved the step up here. I'm gonna take Houston. No, you know what? I'm gonna go with the slight upset here. I'm gonna say Tennessee on this one. How about you, Di? Auburn, Michigan State. Both are good. Both are good basketball schools, as they've shown. Michigan State's come back from years that have not been so well, but they have really stepped up here too. Alabama, I've been impressed with, but again, I'm gonna go with the upset here. I'm gonna say Michigan State. They seem more like a power. Tom Izzo, I think is gonna be is searching for the title here, so I'm hoping he can come in and take it. So you're gonna go with Michigan State or Alabama? Okay, just a second here. Uh, Nobody's gonna come in, die. They're all gone. Yeah, so both these games will be wins this. We'll play in the Final Four, which is next week. Wait, I want you to do your trivia now since I'm the only one here. You can do it now. Pretty much. I'll say 270. Okay. Leon Spinks, Verbeck. That's his name, but he never lost. I'm gonna go Dempsey. Yeah, because he never because Marcion never lost. George Foreman. Yep, that's right. 1980, 1987. He retired in the 70s. It was only Retired, I think, in like 75 or 16 to 28. But then for some reason, wanted to come back 10 years later. How? I'll never know. But yeah. Yeah. All right. So we took care of that. All right. Okay. Well, go to the women's side now. Why not? Of course. All right. So now we go to the women's bracket as the Sweet 16 is continuing now in that department. So we'll go this way. Right now, Texas is leading. Texas up against Tennessee. Ooh, and it's not a big margin, folks. Here, Texas is only up by 3, 26-23 right now in the second quarter. I like Texas in this matchup. How about you, Di? All right, UConn, Oklahoma. That's even for me. UConn. Who do you got? USC. Yeah, USC, Kansas State. I got USC, but their star player Juju Watkins is out. She tore her ACL, so this could be this could be a tough battle for them. So who do you got, USC or Kansas State? I'm gonna go USC too. And we have a final here already. TCU beats Notre Dame 71-62. What a shame. I went with Notre Dame. I went with Notre Dame anyway. Okay, batting 1,000 today. Wow. All right, moving along. Tomorrow's matchups. Number one, South Carolina versus Duke. Oh boy, it's gonna be tough. I'm gonna go with South Carolina. How about you, Di? All right, UCLA and LSU. That's not a tough match. Uh, I'm gonna go with UCLA in this one. Di, for you NAT fans out there, yes, there is NAT in the women's bracket as well. We have Rutgers against Buffalo. I'm gonna go Rutgers on that one. Yeah. All right. And if anybody comes back, well, I'll get their thoughts into. Okay, so on to other news here. Right. Where should I go? Somebody, that's the wrong thing though. Let me see here. All right. So let's go down this way. Uh, okay, we'll start off with as baseball season begins. Now, I don't know about you, but there's a lot going on saying how the Dodgers are just going to roll away, this year. Um, in the majors, they're projected to win. Get this, 117 games. Yeah, as good as you might be, I don't know if you're going to reach that high. I mean, there's a lot of expectations that are going around with the Dodgers this year, and look to repeat, of course. Yeah, I would think so, but I think it's a little bit far fetched. All right, they're off to a good start now at 4-0, and that's where they started back in 1981 when they won the World Series that year against my Yankees, much to my dismay, of course. There's only been two other teams in history that have won 116 games. That was the 2001 Mariners and the 1906 Cubs, but neither team won the World Series that year. The Mariners lost to the Yankees in the ALCS that year, thank you. And the Cubs lost in 1906. I forget who that was, though, but they did, and that was only a 154 game season back in 1906. All right, if you want. For this year's team, winning 107 teams would be nearly a side note as they look to become the first team in 25 years to win back-to-back titles. That's right. No one's done that since the Yankees did when they had a three-peat. There are several factors as to why it's a hard repeat. Well, yeah, I mean, this day and age with free agency and whatnot, sure, it's very hard to repeat. You got to factor in that. But prevailing sentiment is the hunger to go deeper. subsides, it's natural. Another instinct is to have the Dodgers is to go on the defense instead of taking charge. Manager Dave Roberts moved to adjust the later concept in a team meeting where the players arriving in spring training said to be the hunter and not the hunted. Yeah, but 117 games is a lot to name it. Oh yeah, when they were once upon a time when they were good, but they're off to a decent start right. They're off to a decent start right now. They won their first game, so maybe we can ease up a little bit, thinking that they're going to lose 120 games this year. Maybe not. So we'll come some slack a bit. I project the Dodgers to do well. I think maybe they'll repeat as champions. As much as I hate to admit it. Oh, we have a customer. One. Let me address him first, people. And it's Steve, I think. Hey, better late than never. The well, you're still here. At least you're here. Steve Davidson doesn't seem to be here. Yeah, well, I've had a few ladies myself, covering the tournaments and whatnot, so I can vouch for that. Anyway, we were just discussing about the Dodgers' chances of repeating the World Series, and rumors having it that they'll break the record for the best regular season ever with 117 wins, and looking like a sure favorite to win the World Series. Uh, yeah, they might win that by about 117 games. That's about hard to ask for. I mean, in this day and age, Steve, with free agency and everything else happening, with deals and whatnot, it's very hard to repeat, in baseball or in any sport these days. Yeah, over the Yankees. Wow. Yeah, they did. True. Yeah, well, the Yankees have some solid hitters too. Still there? That. Okay. Yeah, so I do think they'll have a chance to repeat. I hope they don't. But yeah, they say they had the best odds, and yeah, with the Red Sox, yeah, Red Sox need to build work though, so I'll have to think about that. Diane, your thoughts? Oh, all right, yeah, yeah. Um, let's see. So are people really thinking Dodgers Red Sox? Yeah, we know, but it takes more than showing a time to win a World Series, even though he is going to pitch this year as well. Okay. Oh yeah, yeah. Yeah. Your thoughts, Di? Yeah. Yeah. Well, in any event, also they received the World Series rings yesterday, just before they took on their opponents. And oh boy, got a rousing ovation. Well, it's not surprising there with that. It was against the Tigers. They got a lot of ovation as they walked the blue carpet to receive their rings. But no one got a bigger ovation than, say, ace pitcher Clayton Kershaw, now in his what 17th year? Well, that's longevity. Um, he stepped out of the dugout, and the stadium just went absolutely bananas. Well, why not? He's a three-time Cy Young winner, and he just tipped his cap to the crowd and just took it all in. Why not? He has spent all 17 seasons with the Dodgers, though his through his first 7 seasons, he reached new heights than fewer pitchers have ever did. He won an NL MVP, an NL pitching triple crown, and 3 Cy Young awards. That's right, 3 of them. But what was missing from him through that was getting a World Series title. He got his first World Series title in 2020 in that pandemic season, which was their first World Series since 1988 when they beat the Giants, and then they won the World Series, of course, this year. So now, after waiting so long to get at least one World Series title, now he's got 2 of them, and who knows, probably a third. Clayton Kershaw, though, he is a solid pitcher. Especially in the regular season. In the postseason, though, well, the Dodgers have had a lot of trouble up until about 2020. I mean, they just couldn't bring it in and give the Dodgers a title up until that point. Now the Dodgers look to be solid, and just like they were back in the early and late '80s, and Kershaw has another season like that. I think you might be right here. I think the Dodgers could win another World Series title. It's very possible. I mean, they're 4-0 right now, and that was the last time it was 1981 when they won in the strike year. Remember that? Oh boy, and they still won anyway. So actually, Diane, you were born after the. You were born just as the playoffs were starting that year. So yeah, yeah. Back then, the World Series ended in October 15th, not November. Sorry about that. Yeah, but 4-0, they're off to a spectacular start. But then again, it's only the first week, and you can't tell right now who's gonna take the place. You can make all the assumptions you want, but in reality, 4-0 in a 160 game season, that's nothing. So just wait till after Memorial Day when we get a better, clear-eyed view of who is in front, because that's when they start turning the corners in that season. All right, the Pirates placed second baseman Nick Gonzalez on the 10-day injury list with a non-displaced fracture in his left ankle. Ugh. Set by manager Derek Shelton, Blake Shelton's third cousin. Gonzalez was injured in spring training when he fouled the ball off his ankle. That's gotta hurt. He hit 2-run homer in the Pirates 5-4 opening loss to the Marlins and was hobbling around the bases, and wisely was removed from the game shortly after that, of course. The Pirates called in Emmanuel Valdez from AAA Indianapolis to fill the vacant roster spot. Last season, Gonzalez hit 270 with 49 RBIs in 94 games. So it looks like another lost season for the Pirates again. As they did well to start the season last season, and now looks like another rough one for the Pirates. You got to feel sorry for them, though. I mean, they try so hard and they do well in the beginning of the year, and then they just like collapse. Hmm. Okay, yeah, Yeah. Yeah. Well, I don't think they actually gave a timeline to how long it was going to be out for. So I'll have to wait for an update on that one. Yeah, I know it's too early to say that, it come out, but it always say that Pittsburgh gets a bad break though. You know, yeah. I mean, everybody thought that, it's Paul's very long term. Exactly. Ugh, that's a joke. Mhm. Yeah, a very long. Yeah, yes, maybe. Yeah, yeah. All right, moving on. Well, it's been a mixed bag for Juan Soto um, this week. As most of you know, he's now made an official with the Mets. Um, he signed a ridiculous 15 years, $765 million deal in the offseason as he came from the Yankees. On Thursday, well, the results did not go quite as expected. The Mets were down 3-1 with two outs in the top of the ninth. Teammate Francisco Lindor knocked in a run with a sac fly. The Mets had runners on the corners, and Sato stepped into the box, trying to be the hero of the game. He went to face closer and former Padres teammate Josh Hader, and the tension mounted. Sato took the first three pitches. He saw to take a 3-0 count, then watched a slider nick the zone uh, for a strike before fouling off a 95-mile-per-hour fastball. First of all, I wouldn't swing on 3-0. I mean, that's a stupid move right there. So, with a 3-2 count, Hader unleashed a wild slider to strike out Sato, and the Astros came away with the victory, all because of that dumb mistake right there. But on the brighter side, yesterday, the Mets actually won the game, and Sato hit his first official home run as a Met. So congratulations on that. I think I have the article here someplace. And now the season tied. Yeah, here we are. He had the first official home run with two outs on a 1-2 count. The right fielder deposited Astros pitcher Hunter Brown's 95-mile-per-hour fastball over the right field fence to give the Mets a 3-0 lead. It was his 202nd home run of his career, his first as a Met. I'm sure all Mets fans were happy. As the ball appeared to clear the fences, Sato turned and appeared to admire his handiwork, taking two steps with a slow gait before making his home run trot. So, of course, that makes up for Thursday's game. Well, okay, off to a bit of a slow start or whatever, but I didn't think it was going to take long for Soto to get his groove in and make some noise for the Mets. So far, it's going. I think as well as planned. I think it's going to just take time for him to get used to the National League. Him of course pitching and hitting. So, but I think within time he's going to get used to it. And the Mets, if he stays on his game, the Mets might be able to be in contention this year, and make a run in the playoffs as well because they're really banking on him, as you know. You don't sign a $65 million contract for 15 years, assuming he makes it that long. It can do wonders for the franchise. Judging from the first game, a lot of people were upset about like, oh, why did we sign this guy? But now I think he's coming around. I mean, he's gonna get better as the year goes on. I'll tell you that right now. He will. I don't know if it's gonna get 15 World Series titles in the Mets, but I think he's gonna be a good fit in with it. And if Mike were here, I think he agreed. Right, Die? Of course. Yeah. But of course, remember it's early in the season, so you really can't tell what's going to be by the first week. When you sign the contracts, you expect them to be that way, but it's not always going to happen like that. You know, a 15-year contract, which is too much. Look what they did with A-Rod, 10 years, and did he finish out the contract? No. So that's a prime example right there. You know, maybe it's a mistake. Yes, sure. No, yeah, right, right. Do you agree with that, Roger? Well, of course now with the Mets, you know, it's sometimes when you sign a major contract like that, it's really kind of hard to live up to because I don't think you're going to produce 15 years of solid wins and hitting home run after home run, unless you're like a Hank Aaron or a Barry Bonds. But honestly, it's a lot to live up to, and a lot of fans I think may be expecting too much of Sato. Yeah, because well, yeah, but the size of the contract though, Roger, 15 years at $760 million. That's a lot to live up to. You could say that again. Yeah, even that's too much. Yeah. Hey, Steve, I got some news for you. Your Patriots are getting rid of your linebacker, Bentley. Jordan Bentley, yes. Oof, 3 times. Right. Yeah. Mhm. That's kinda strange. That's kinda surprising myself, and he was team captain for 3 seasons. Mhm. Right. Mhm. Yeah, so it was kind of a surprise move right there. Yeah. Anyone else have any thoughts? No, okay, so we'll move on. And, NFL, players meetings or owners meetings are gonna be held, um, in the coming actually, I think it starts, tomorrow, if I'm not mistaken. Just let me find it here, because I have it here. Okay. The competition committee proposed rule changes for next season around replay review and kickoff rules that will be done next week, along with several other team proposals, including the elimination of the tush push, which I think is also a 1978 dance move. Oh boy. Never mind. Just a bad joke. I hope I didn't hear that one though. Okay. Yeah. All right. So we're going over the new things right here. Alan, can you hear me though? Alan? Okay, okay. There we go. Want to make sure I hear everybody loud and clear. All right. So the committee announced a proposal that would expand the reach of instant replay to overrule on field calls, field calls such as face mask penalties, and horse car tackles, among other changes. Yeah, I don't like the horse car tackles anyway. I don't, that's totally unnecessary. So, oh come on, when they ground by the neck die, that can really hurt a player. Oh yeah, they do. The old horse collar. The proposed change will allow instant replay to allow officials on specific objective aspects of play and or to address the game administration rules when cleared and obvious video evidence is present. Among several proposals to kicking rules, the committee proposed enshrining the dynamic kickoff rule, which was presented at the trial run last season. Another proposal would be the teams declare an onside kick at any point during the game if the kicking team is trailing instead of just restrict them to the fourth quarter. I don't like that. I don't think it's necessary until the fourth quarter because it doesn't really matter if the game was on the line when you're trying to make a last effort to win. I don't think you should use it at any time. That's just a proposed change, it's not official. Let's keep that in mind, folks. Yeah, that's ridiculous. Keep it only when necessary. Oh, we're down 7-0 in the second quarter. We got to use the onside kick. Oh, come on. Save it for when it's an emergency. In the fourth quarter, down by 10, and you're scoring touchdown, and then you try to get the ball back by onside kicking. Don't use it in the second quarter or third quarter. Get out of here. That's ridiculous. The proposed is the proposal is to intend to generate more returns by wanting more teams to go for on shorter kicks without increasing the risk of injuries. Yeah, yeah. Good luck with that, buddy. The committee released changes just a week after the league made its own proposals as well. The committee competition proposals will be voted on the leagues when the owners meet. I think tomorrow. Yeah, from tomorrow till Tuesday, if I'm not mistaken. Proposals must be approved by 24 of the 32 teams uh, for the changes to become effective. And of course, they still want change the overtime rule. Where both teams get possession of the ball regardless of scoring. Look, in the playoffs, yeah, I understand that, but in the regular season, I don't think so. I mean, just leave it as is. Leave the overtime rules alone. Okay, I mean, we don't need any more confusion. But of course, everybody was whining and crying about, oh, we didn't get the possession of the ball and everything. Look, you had this way for 40 years when overtime first came into effect. Now all of a sudden you want to change it because someone didn't like the call. Ridiculous. Now we'll all find out by Tuesday or Wednesday, the latest, on if these rules of new proposals have passed. So stay tuned. Any thoughts, guys, on these proposals? But that's how it was for 40 years in overtime. Right. That's right. Mm-hmm. Yeah, yeah. Well, you're not going to please everybody. Exactly. Right. Yeah. Yeah. And they think, oh, well, we're going to win. Yeah. Well, hey, look, he gets the ball first. He gets the ball first. But you had to make an issue out of it, and now I want to change the rules. Yeah, ridiculous. You know, that's why I call it sudden death. That's why they call it sudden death for a reason. You have to look at it that way. Yeah, that's not gonna happen. The game went at a time only after a maximum of 15 minutes, but other than that, they would, yeah. But after that, in the second possession, the first team that scores does win. Yeah. So that's how that works. Exactly. No, that's what you know because it's only going to prolong more injuries, and that's the last thing the NFL needs. You want to risk more of your players? I don't think so. Yeah, but we also yeah, it could, but that only risks more injuries though, and we don't need that. Yeah, uh, that's right. Now, I wanted your thoughts of what we were discussing last night on your show, which is a very fine show, by the way. With the UFL, because the UFL right now, I think, is in a heap of trouble here. I mean, there's talk of a strike, even the players say they intend on striking, but it's going far beyond that. I mean, so far um, they're still playing as we speak. Because there was talk of they were not going to be able to maybe even play. But I was hearing reports though of where to go. Okay, yeah, there we go here. They're playing without a collective bargaining agreement, and but they're going on a scheduled, and yeah, mm, yeah, the players don't want to strike, the owners want to strike them out. Yeah, because the owners, mhm, no, yeah, and I heard they say it'd be wise just to play on it anyway. I mean, look, like you said, that this is not the NFL, and very few players are going to even make the NFL even by playing this league. They're going to play like maybe 1 or 2 years, whatever, and that their season's done. You're not going to, be the next NFL. Very few people go to the games. There's even far fewer less on television. The only talk about less than a million per week. So this league and it haven't made any money. I mean, this is a broke league, pretty much. If you strike, that could be the end of your existence of this league right here. So, I have to give him credit for that because if they do go on strike, this league is over. Yeah, yeah, and that would just prove to be another failure in spring football. I mean, look, because I don't think there's been any spring league that has made any money. I mean, the original USFL, they lost a ton of money, even though they spent 3 seasons. Um, the original XFL, that was a bust, even though they did play a full season. But people lost interest in it already after the first or second week of the year. They tuned in for the hype to see what it was about, and they're like, "Oh, please, this is even for a turd. I mean, forget it. We're out of here." Um, well, this is kind of like developmental, and don't forget the ever popular AAF of 2018. Oh, boy, that was a disaster. That didn't even finish its season. Yeah, total chaos. Actually, Roger, they folded in mid-season. They only played 5 games through it. It was supposed to be a 10-week season, and they folded midway through. It was the biggest flop in professional sports history. Ooh, yeah. So the fact is that you can't compete with the NFL no matter how many times you try. Every spring league since there's been one has all failed. It hasn't even lasted 5 years. And this might be another example of how another spring league is going to, fold them and collapse, I think, by a year. I mean, you were lucky to get through the first year. I mean, but you didn't make a dime, and you're probably going to lose more this year. And if you strike, you're done. So, you got to watch. We better watch these developments very carefully because even if they don't strike, I don't think this league is going to last another year. Well, the way they've been losing anyway. So this is a big concern. When you say, Alan, for the league and for some of its fans. Oh yes. Well, the problem is though, Alan, is that they don't really draw a lot of the big cities. They're just in small market areas where they don't really draw a lot of attention. Absolutely. Yeah, but like I said, I don't see this league not lasting another year. Not to sound pessimistic, but the way it's been going, I don't really see it happening. Which would be on the fans for not going. No, and that's a problem right there. Yeah, I don't think so. Yeah, exactly. All right, switching gears to basketball for a little bit. Now, here's something weird. Okay, your team is doing well. You have a winning record. You're not going to go below 500 this season. Yet, guess what? You fired the coach. Why? I don't know. So, the Grizzlies fired head coach Taylor Jenkins yesterday, despite a reasonable 44-29 record, and are tied with the Lakers for fifth in the conference. Okay, that's a solid record. You're heading maybe towards the post. You're probably heading towards the postseason. Yet your coach still got fired. Okay, and a respectable record too. Lifetime 250 wins, 214 losses, and three postseason appearances since being hired. Okay, so far so good. So general manager and team president Zach Kelman said they approached Taylor's efforts in the decision with the Grizzlies over the last 6 seasons, saying it was a difficult decision to make given the consistent and tangible development of our players and overall success under his leadership. After last season, 27-55, which was mostly caused by John Morant missing 73 games to injuries and being a total idiot and got suspended. The Grizzlies, are finding their way back. The Grizzlies lost to the Thunder on Thursday night, well, obviously, and have lost 5 of the last 7 games. Okay, a little bit of a slump. Okay, every team gets that, even the good teams. You're gonna lose, maybe 4 or 5 in a row like that. But you had to fire the guy for what? He was doing fine. His team's doing fine. They'll make the postseason probably. Why would you fire him? It doesn't make sense. I mean, I think the Cavaliers went through this some time ago too. Yeah, it's got to be a personal issue. I see. It looks to be a legitimate report, Steve, but I don't see how it. I think most people are. Yeah, but that was last season, though. Yes. Mhm. Right. And with a respectable record. No, not at all. That is totally ridiculous. It's got to be a personal reason, I think, or somewhere. But you do not fire a coach when you're, at the end of the season and bound to be playoff bound. If it was, the other way around, if it was, terrible record, like say, like what the Wizards have when the Sixers. Sorry, yeah, then you'd fire him. But now when your team was doing well and on the verge of making the postseason, you don't fire him like that. No, no, there's some fishy going on with this. Yeah, yes, must be right. The old my way, the highway bit. Okay, I wish they could. After last season, they should have got rid of him. Well, I think he should have let him go last season after all the friction that he caused. With him being suspended and whatnot for whatever he did. So he should have been gone last year. Yes, exactly. Yeah. Yes, I know. Mhm. Yes. Yes. Right. No, neither am I. But I think I just got some good news here, unless this is just a misprint. Just give me a second here because I just think I just saw something up on a Facebook page, a Facebook note here. Just give me a second here. This concerns a small few here. Yep, it's official. The Knicks qualify for the postseason. Hello. All right. At 46 and 27 after last night's win. So now it's official. They are in the postseason this year and are still 3 games up ahead of the Indiana Pacers as they fight for third. So right now we have the Cavaliers at 59-15. Yuck. The Celtics, well, 54 and 19. And the Knicks qualified at 46 and 27. If they keep up, they might make 50 wins that they did last season, but that was a much weaker team than last year. But I'm glad to say that they have made the playoffs once again. Thank goodness. I know. Yeah, but the Bucks don't look so hot, this year. So I think it's yeah, but Giannis is slowed up a bit too. So I wouldn't put it as a given. I wouldn't say it'd be a given, for the Bucks this year, to even get past the first round. I'd say it's a given. No. Oh, absolutely, yeah. But this the Greek figure is not, as he once was, which could be no, no. That'd be a disaster. That'd be a disaster right there. All right. Speaking and over to now I'll come back to the hockey a bit. We've got some other basketball news here. So going like this. The Sixers guard Tyrese Maxey will miss another 2 games with a finger sprain, said by head coach Nick Nurse. He's been dealing also with a back injury and has not played since March 3rd when they lost to the Blazers. Well, the Sixers season is pretty much over. They still have a chance to even make the play-in spot, even though they don't deserve it because their record is, rather dismal. The next chance that Maxey could play is Tuesday against the Knicks. Despite a 23 and 50 record, which is anemic, and have lost 6 of 9 games, they still have a very slight chance of making the play-in tournament. Well, you don't deserve to be there anyway, so it really doesn't matter. You're on the brink of elimination, and I think by tomorrow Monday you will be officially eliminated. 23 and 50 and make a playoff spot? Yeah, right. Get out of here. You've lost 6 straight, 9 of 10. You are weak. Maxi though, but Maxi has been a bright spot for the Sixers this year, despite this anemic record, as he has 26.3 points per game, 6.1 assists, and 3.3 rebounds in 52 games in all starts. Even though you're bad, yeah, but that's another. I mean, the Sixers last year they made the playoffs. They lost to the Knicks in 6 games, but this year they have fallen off a cliff. That's oh boy. I mean, the only yeah, injuries can really hurt a team. Yeah, but to go from playoffs last year at 23 and 50, that is a major drop, man. That is just oof. Yeah, that's another factor there too. Yeah, Embiid's becoming a Embiid. Very few, die. Up and speaking of out, well, the Trailblazers, and if that's not bad, they play in Portland. And if that's not bad enough, from bad to worse, the Hornets have ruled out point guard LaMelo Ball for the rest of the year as he'll undergo minor procedures for right ankle and wrist injuries. Well, if it's minor, well then again, they're pretty much contention anyway as well. So Ball has been playing through the pain. Exactly. So anyway, Ball has been playing through the pain in recent weeks um, with the Hornets, but 18 and 54 and clear out of the playoff picture. The Hornets said, "Yeah, you better sit down with your injuries. You better sit down." So in 47 games this season, Ball has been one of the bright spots, very few of the team, who has 25.2 points per game with 7.9 assists. Not bad for a team that's in the toilet. Ankle injuries are nothing new for Ball, as he has missed 25 games per season in the last 3 seasons after playing 75 games in the 2001 and the 2021-22 season. He underwent surgery on his right ankle in 2023, and the second straight year that Ball had been shut down. He had held out for the rest of the 2023-24 season to rehab his right ankle after recurring issues from a sprain in November 2023. So it has gone from bad to worse for Ball, and that's one reason I think the Hornets have not performed well at all. Shouldn't be a surprise there, though. And Alex, yeah, hey Alex, yeah, we're discussing Lamelo Ball, and he's done. Yes, uh-huh. was was yeah. No. Yeah, but of course, with the season pretty much over for them, it might be the wise decision to sit him out because you're not going to the playoffs anyway. So it may be a good omen, even though we don't believe in omens. But yeah, no, yeah. So it will be right. Okay, so now we'll move on. Okay. Yeah, exactly. Um, okay, we had some other news, and Kay Cunningham is also a bit of trouble. The Pistons All-Star guard, he missed his third game with a bruised calf. The Pistons announced that Cunningham would not play against did not play against the Cavaliers last night, as was his day to day. He injured his calf muscle in a loss against the Mavericks about a week ago. Cunningham has been the key player and turned the Pistons season around, leading the team for a home court advantage in the playoffs after finishing dead last in the previous 2 seasons with the league's worst record back to back. And as you remember last year, they set the dubious distinction of losing 28 losses in a row and it ended up with the third worst season ever by any team in the NBA. Only the 72-73 Washington Bullets and the Lakers in Kobe's last season were worse than that. We now call them the Washington Wizards, Doc. That's who they are now. But this season, they are guaranteed to finish above 500 record. Thank goodness. Cunningham was selected number one overall in 2001, and he has a lot to do with the success. He's averaging 25.6 points per game and 9.2 assists and 6.1 rebounds. I mean, this team has really turned its fortunes around because coming into the season, I did not expect anything like this. They have been the most improved team of the year. And Coach Bickerstaff, I think is part of it, and I think he deserves Coach of the Year. JB Bickerstaff, that is. He deserves it. Yeah, yeah, right. That's what you gotta do. Yeah. I mean, because like I said, I didn't expect this to happen. I mean, maybe if they won me like 25 or 30 games, yeah, that would be more realistic. But what a turnaround from just the last two seasons. Finishing, in the cellar, and now they're on the brink of maybe not just making the playoffs, but home field advantage as well. I mean, seriously, no one expected that. Yes. Yeah. Yes. Mhm. Yeah. Right. Yeah. Yeah. Yes. Yeah. Right. Okay. So yeah. Yes. Yeah. Okay. Here's a question for you. How many of you remember the Seattle Supersonics? Okay. Good. Well, yeah. Well, we call them the Oklahoma City Thunder. So anyway, if well, Seattle fans, I hate to disappoint you, but don't expect a new team in Seattle anytime soon. According to Adam Silver at the governor's meeting, there are no new developments um, for Seattle to get a team at this time. I hear often, I hear them often from the legacy of the Sonics is still a strong, is still strong, and has been a fantastic basketball market, and we are very focused on that. I think the fact is I'm sort of not believing in forthcoming in a public manner does not mean we are not studying this very intensively. Now, I for one, I mean the Seattle Seahawks they did very well. That's the Sonics. I mean, they won a championship. I think it was 77 or 78. They were consistent in winning, but for some reason, somebody just bought them and decided to move them out. I mean, they were a very successful franchise, and yet you took them away, and a lot of fans in Seattle were not happy about it. I mean, I wasn't a big Seahawks, fan myself, but they were a respectable team, and they did well. And it was just a shame to lose, such a great team like the Sonics. But of course, now they've made a name for themselves in Oklahoma City and are the top team of the Western Conference there, and are looking to be a serious threat in this year's playoffs. So, so he said, we don't take the fans for granted. We are thankful that the Inners has remained in Seattle over the years. I just want to say because we are not ready to make any public statements for a timeline does not mean we don't care about the fans and remain focused on potential return for the team in Seattle. Probably not in my lifetime, but maybe it'll happen, 50 years from now. Yeah, well, we'll see. Now, get this. The Sonics were the first pro team in Seattle back in 1967, before the Seahawks and the Mariners came to town. The Mariners came in 77. I think Seahawks came in what, 70? 69 and 70, if I'm not mistaken. And then the last, of course, drive, but they moved. Ex- Lucky Brewers. Yeah. Got that, Bob Bucher? No, you can't hear me. All right. So Seattle arrived in 2021. They played the home games at the Climate Pledge Arena. But as Super quick, don't expect them to share an arena with an NBA team anytime in the near future. Until the meantime, you do have a basketball team in the WNBA, the Seattle Storm, which has also been one of the powerhouses in the league. Yeah, it doesn't quite have the same atmosphere as say the Sonics. When you put it this way, I mean, because I won't knock the Seattle Storm. I mean, they had some great players over the years as well, and they are like Seattle's basketball team. But you need the Sonics in the NBA, or at least the NBA need a team in Seattle. It's a very strong market, and they have to get you know a team there back in that area. They really do. Plus, I think plus, yeah, yeah, yeah. Yes. No, no, not at all. Yes. Yes. Go ahead. Oh, Uh-oh. Ah, yes. Mm, yes. Yes. Mm, I was gonna say that, yes. Mm, right. Okay. I get it. Okay. Well, just be yes. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, but you gotta remember too, Alex, there's one thing you gotta remember. You have New York on one side, and you got the Bruins on the other side, and it was very tough for, I think, Connecticut to, fit into the picture here. So they kinda got lost in the show between 2 big market teams there. So I wasn't too surprised, and they were never really that good anyway. Sure. Yeah, right. Yeah. Well, Connecticut does have the Connecticut Southern WNBA, but yeah, never mind. All right, so just when you thought the Wizards season couldn't get as bad enough, it got worse as they suffered their worst loss of the season on Thursday night. Despite a respectable showing of 109 points in a loss to the Pacers, the Pacers scored a whopping, ready for this, guys, 162 points. That's the highest score of any NBA team in the last 17 years. After the game, Pacers radio announcer Pat Boylan posted on social media the impressive list. Most impressive, though, was the 162 point total in, in franchise history. The Pacers had a franchise record 27.3 pointers, 50 assists, in their third largest margin of victory. The Wizards are only 16-57 and only slightly better than last year's Pistons, who finished at 14-68, 162 points. Oh boy, where was the defense in that game? As for the the Wizards, of course, though, have been bad all season, but this I think is the ultimate nail in the coffin right here. Yeah, the Wizards just ugh, I think 162 points. That is ugh, words can't describe that. Just unthinkable. I mean, there are losses. Like I said, there are losses, and then there are losses, and this one is going to go down as one of the worst losses in history. Ugh, yeah, no wonder Steve Davis is not here. Who'd want to? I think by this time, Alex, though, when you know your season's in the toilet and not going anywhere, you pretty much have just given up all hope, and you just don't even try. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Okay. I got some more NBA news here. All right. For those of you who are hoping that the NBA will bring back the All Star Game mini tournament format next season, two words: forget it. That's what I can say. Forget it. Commissioner Adam Silver said on Thursday that the format used last month for the 14 tournament with 24 All Stars and another team consisting of first and second year players was a disaster. Was a bust. All, all the matchups played to a maximum of 40 points, and it was really a dud. The first and second year players played their way by winning the Rising Stars event, by the way. So we were not in terms of creating an all star experience that we could be proud of our players. I said, and it was just a bad idea, and it was a bad idea. I mean, only played to 40 points. I mean, it was like watching playing like a game of horse or whatever. It just wasn't a good idea. It just didn't fit the all star mode as well. All right. Any more ideas on how to fix the All Star game if you can? Because it's every year it seems to keep getting worse. And this was trying to create another experiment, and it was another experiment that just went wrong. You know, I like that idea better. Yeah, it is, or no sound, this case may be. I think it's a better idea. Well, yeah, it could be, but we right. Yeah, but the thing is, though, when it comes to those competitions, we usually lose because if you recall in the FIBA World Cup basketball, um, in 2023. We did well until we got the semifinals, and then Greece just beat us. So in Olympic competition, we're fine, but in world competition, uh, they've got us pretty good. So we got to be careful with that. Yeah, right. Yeah. No. Yeah. Yeah. Oh, by the way, I was not surprised that UConn didn't go that far past the second round. They were very inconsistent this year. I mean, they held their own against Florida and a 77-75 loss, but I kind of knew they weren't going to get past the second round. But I do. think they did a tremendous effort. You know, trying to become the first team in 25 years or 20 years, whatever, to be a three-peat. But all in all, I didn't see it happening. And the upset with St. John's, oh boy. I mean, I think a lot of people in the brackets had St. John's going to at least the Final Four, and yet they lost to Arkansas. But hey, you got two legendary coaches going against each other, you know, with Arkansas. But I think maybe some, yeah, yeah. I mean, both John Capari and no, no, right, and not for nothing. Both coaches like Calipari and Matthew, right, right, yes, no. And when you got two legendary coaches like that up against each other, you know, it made it very competitive. Yeah, 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 yeah. I don't think so. Flounder is right. Let's see what Matthew has to say about that. What is Matt? Oh yeah, right. They gotta make a change, right, Matthew? Matthew, right? Yes, yes, you do. They- yeah. And there's no room for that. Does he have one? Yeah. Or to put it another way, yeah. Or I'll put it this way, guys. Well, I'll put it this way. What a wuss. Right. Exactly. Yeah. Like I said, what a wuss. They gotta make a change. They all gotta make a change. Uh-huh. Yeah. Yeah, that's nice. Yeah. Dynasty is gone. Yeah. Yeah. Okay, I gotta move on. All right. Well, this is a very sad story here and something that no parents have to go through. Former Yankee outfielder Brett Gardner suffered a personal loss last weekend as he lost his son Miles, passing away last Friday at the age of 14. The story reads that Miles was on a family vacation and suddenly just began to feel ill and then just passed away. There was no known cause, um, no official cause of death known. There were so many questions to ask, but far too many answers, as the Gardner family said in a statement. The Gardner's family wrote that Miles loved football, baseball, and golf, and hunting and fishing with his family and friends. The they ended the statement by saying requesting a privacy and prayers to, to families who have lost their child way too soon. Just a shame. Gardner spent all 14 years with the Yankees from 2008 to 2021 and won a World Series title, which was their last in 2009, and made the All Star team in 2015 and a Gold Glove in 2016. I mean, it's always tough when you lose a child, and we don't even know what you know, the actual cause of death was. It hasn't been determined yet, I don't think. But when you lose a child, that is that is very devastating. Yes, and our hearts go to the Gardner family. Ugh, I was like, how did that happen? When I read the article, I thought, like, how did that happen? It's just awful, though. Yeah. Yes, it was. I saw that. It was very well done. In tribute to his son. Very well done. And they went on to win the game too. All right, guys. I mean, it's gonna happen, I think, very soon. But as well as Ovechkin, who is, just about to break Wayne Gretzky's record. Well, guess what? One of Gretzky's record was already broken by Sidney Crosby. I'll explain. Crosby scored a goal in the first period against the Sabres on Thursday night, and he surpassed Gretzky to take sole possession of a very impressive record. Listen carefully. This was his 26th goal this season, giving him 80 points on the year. By doing this, he secured another season of averaging 1 point per game. This is his 20th season where he has recorded at least 1 point per game. No one has ever done that. Not Lemieux, not Gretzky, or anybody else. Crosby has not had a single season where he has failed to get at least 1 point during dating back to his rookie season of the 2005-2006 year. He scored 102 points that season and has not slowed down since then. Gretzky still holds a number of records. He averaged 1 point per game in 19 of his 20 seasons. The only exception was his last, when he had only 62 points in 70 games in the 1998-99 season. Now, Crosby stands alone. So The great one is seeing his records following a bit of a domino effect here. He's lost the has gone past that, and Ovechkin, yeah, he's gonna break Gretzky's record. I think with where are we now? March 29th. I would think before within the next week and a half he'll break it. He's only 5 away from tying it, and 6 away from doing it. He's gonna do it. And I've been keeping my eye on this, for like the last 2 3 weeks. So I'm still on Obi watch. I don't know about the rest of you all, but I'm keeping my eye on this for when he breaks that record. I remember when Gretzky broke Gordie Howe's record 30 years ago, and I wasn't going to miss that. ESPN had the game on that night. Broke the record at 12. Just broke the record just after midnight on March 24th, 1994. Yes, I saw that. Yes, they do. Yeah, but he said that. Yeah, oh yeah, but he said the state. Oh, but Diane. Yeah, because look what he did. The game of hockey. He changed the game of hockey. I mean, he is the reason why I think fans have become fans of hockey in the U.S. because that's how he was. He set the standard for the hockey being played today. No, no, not at all. Players like that don't come along that often. Yeah, no, yes, right. Because like I said, players like that don't come along that often. Or the Babe Ruth or the Red or the or the yeah, well, yeah, right. Yes. All right, moving on. I got some women's basketball news here in case anybody's interested. Well, USC suffered a tough break as sophomore Juju Watkins, who was on a roll and was being compared to Caitlin Clark already. Her season's over as she tore her ACL in the tournament win over Memphis, Mississippi State last week. Oh boy! So ESPN reported that Watkins is planning to have some season-ending surgery and begin rehab right away. Recovery time is about 6 to 9 years, 6 to 9 months. Excuse me. That according to the Cleveland Clinic. Before the injury, she averaged 23.9 points per game and is a contender for the Associated Press Woman of the Year. That this coming 1 year after winning the Freshman of the Year award. She was the unanimous All American selection in her first 2 seasons and was already surpassing Caitlin Clark's total for the first 2 seasons of her career. And now, all because of one injury, her season is over. What a shame. Because she was just getting much attention as Clark was last year. All right. As for UConn, well, this is a rarity that it's a rarity that college players stay in past 3 years anymore. But on the UConn's women's team guard Ozzie Fudd, that's Elmer Fudd's great great granddaughter. Oh boy, has decided to stay in for another year. Like I said, very rare. Fudd announced on Tuesday that she will put in one more year before turning pro and return for a fifth year, which is a rarity in the college game, male or female. Her announcement came after the win over South Dakota State, and now as South Dakota State heads to the Sweet 16 for the 31st straight year. UConn, well, that is UConn heads for the 31st straight year in the women's tournament, the Sweet 16. Many have viewed Fudd as the first round pick in next month's draft, but is coming back for another year. She has lived up to the hype that followed her from Arlington, Virginia, as a National Player of the Year, as well as a McDonald's All American and one on the floor, but injuries have interrupted her career at UConn. That is true. This time around, Fudd has averaged 13.4 per game, 1.2 steals, and average shooting of 45% from the 3-point range. That's the best in the East, while appearing in 30 games. Her success outside was the best among qualified UConn shooters since Katie Lou Samuelson in the 2017-2018 season. And then after that, she's going to go hunt some weapons. Yeah. So it is a rarity these days to have that happen, to stay in for like 4 to 5 years. But yeah, so good luck, and they'll make room for the draft next year, I'm sure. And congratulations to the Wisconsin Badgers women's hockey team for winning the national championship. The Badgers took down Ohio State 4-3 in the final game of the women's Final Four last Sunday and won their 8th national title. Down 3-2 with 20 seconds left in regulation, the Badgers awarded a penalty shot. On the power play, Kristen Sims tied the game on that shot against Amanda Thiel. Sims, a junior, was unfazed by the bright lights of the moment. Less than 3 minutes into overtime, Sims struck the puck again as she collected off a rebound from a shot from Lacey Eden and buried the puck into the net for the 4-3 overtime victory. Wow. What a finish. I wonder if she's related to Bobby Nystrom. Never mind. Never mind. Oh, boy. Yet 43 years later, 45 years later, I still remember that. Don't ask me why, please. Oh, before I do anything else, what was everybody's best and worst moments of March? Anybody have one? I agree with you. I agree with you on that. Yes. Nothing worse than losing a child. Uh, does anybody else have any best and worst moments of March? Yes. Right. Yeah, I gotta agree with that. Absolutely. Right. All right. I'll give you that. You missed it. It was last week. Well, okay. I'll look at you this way, Don. Well, hold on. The official opening day was Thursday. If you want to count the Cubs and Dodgers, yeah, go ahead, but that was in Japan. So the North American opener was last Thursday. When you look at it like that. Wow. Yeah. And by the way, I think that by the way, I think the Dodgers magic number is now 146. Oh boy. Okay. Help. Yeah. So I would say that maybe. Yeah. Yeah. So I have to agree with that. Also with the tournament, and of course, Gardner's son, that's the worst of the month. So yeah. All right. So a few moments of history. In 1984, the Baltimore Colts packed up the bags in the middle of the night with Indianapolis, and that woke me up too. Uh, Gretzky in 1985 breaks his own NHL season record with his 126 assists in 1 year. How weird. 1982, North NCAA basketball championship. North Carolina beats Georgetown 63-62. Tar Heels future Hall of Famer James Worthy was named the tournament's most outstanding player. He wanted to play with the Lakers. Remember that one? Yeah. 1975, only the second time the Islanders beat the Rangers. Oh boy. 1973, Boston Celtic Dave Cowens wins NBA MVP. Remember that the playoffs were played a lot earlier back then. 1948, the Yankees and Red Sox play a 2-2 tie in 17 innings in a spring training game. Now you don't play that in spring training. You don't play 17 innings. Why would you need to? I mean, really. 1989, first Soviet players are permitted to play for the NHL. How about that? 1992, ladies figure skating champion in Oakland, California, was won by Kristi Yamaguchi. I remember that very well. Do we have any more recent history? 1984, Jimmy Johnson calls it quits for the Dallas Cowboys, and they haven't done anything since. Oh, dear goodness. Bring him back, guys. Bring him back. 1999. I wish we could. 1999, one of the greatest moments in NCAA college basketball history. UConn won their first title against Duke 77-74, and I went nuts as Duke missed the three. Oh, yeah. What a moment that was. In 1999, on this date, UConn upset Duke to win the men's championship 77-74. And I went bananas. Yep. And 33 years ago yesterday, the shot around the world. Hill passes the ball to later, shoots it up, it's gone. It's gone. Boy, what a moment. Okay, we're just about out of time. Rasal's coming up next. So next week we'll go again with starting with April. How about that? And we'll preview the Final Four in the men's and the women's as well as other events. So on that note, I wish you a pleasant week and good night and stay safe, everybody.